Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Southwest.
It's an exciting time for baseball fans in North Texas. Your Texas Rangers announce plans to build a new house. Jeff Bannister can write Shin-Soo Choo in his lineup card again. And the Silver Boot Series resumes with the Rangers and the Astros on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T High-Speed Internet. Well, the great indoors, which just became the great outdoors with the roof opening here at Minute Maid Park, downtown Houston. Rangers and the Astros continue the Silver Boot Series. Game 1 is coming up next for you. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Glad you could join us on this Friday night of Ranger baseball. Rangers looking to continue their mastery over the Houston Astros. They won the first 3 games this year against Houston up in Dallas, and now they come down here to Houston, and they have their veteran right-hander Colby Lewis calling.
Well, Colby's been the most consistent starter all season long for the Rangers. Last year he won 17 games. He's been even better this year. He's left 3 games with a lead. The lead hasn't held up, so he's only 2-0. His ERA is solid at 3.12. In his last 4 starts, he's pitched 7 innings in each start. In 28 innings, he's walked 2 and struck out 18. So he's on a good roll right now, Buzz. I don't think he's ever had a stretch where he's thrown the ball better than he is right now.
And Colby would confer that with you, Tom, because he said he's never felt better in a Ranger uniform than he does right now. He credits that to all the work he did in the offseason to come back from that knee surgery. It's great to hear, and Colby is getting the production the Rangers had hoped for. Well, the Rangers and the Astros getting set to renew their rivalry. We'll come back with the starting lineup and the first pitch and more right after this from Minute Maid Park. Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Great American Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T High-Speed Internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. By Budweiser. Not backing down since 1876. This Bud's for you. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. A great evening down here in Houston, and Rangers and the Astros getting set to get underway. A big crowd filing into Minute Maid Park. Before we get things started, let's sit down and check in with John Radigan.
Yeah, Buzz, as you mentioned in the open, Shin-Soo Choo will be in right field tonight. Shin-Soo Choo, who has a hit in every game in 3 of the last 5 games he's played and has been on base in every game this season. But, of course, that's only 5 games all year. Still, he's done a rehab assignment, he's rehabbed the calf, and he's back.
Always miss, playing here, then first of all, stay healthy. I test everything. Outfield work, spirit work, everything in test in the minor league. So everything feel good. So a couple of days ago, I talked Benny and Kevin, trainer. So we made a decision to come back here.
Choo said he actually had fun with the minor leaguers. It reminded him of 10 years ago when he was climbing his way to the big leagues. It's almost time for the starting lineups, and the first pitch will do that next. Live from Minute Maid Park in Houston on Fox.
At 17-25, although they just came off a very good road trip, won 2 out of 3 in Chicago. Meanwhile, the Rangers struggling on this road trip. They lost the first 3 of the trip against the Oakland A's. They were swept out of Oakland, and they come in at 22-19. Tom's going to tell you now about the Southwest Airlines Texas Rangers lineup.
Shin-Soo Choo is back in the lineup. He's in right field, and he is leading off. Ian Desmond is batting second. Prince Fielder moves into the third spot. Adrian Beltre is playing third, and he is the cleanup hitter. Rougned Odor goes from the leadoff spot to batting fifth. Mitch Moreland is sixth. Nomar Mazara moves down to the seventh spot in the lineup in left field tonight. Bobby Wilson is the catcher, and batting ninth is the shortstop Elvis Andrus.
And that lineup for Jeff Bannister going to face the 22-year-old right-hander out of Tampa, Florida. That's Lance McCullers Jr. His dad, of course, Lance McCullers Sr., pitched for several major league clubs, including the Texas Rangers. McCullers fastball, curveball, those are his two primary pitches, an occasional changeup. He's had not much luck against the Rangers. Rangers hitters have been able to get to him early in a ball game, and that has been McCullers' MO. If he's going to have problems, first or second inning is when he usually gets stung. Rangers knocked him out last time they faced him last year in the first inning before he ever had a chance to get his feet on the ground. Well, the Rangers hope to repeat things here tonight, and we'll take a look at the Astros defense behind him. And a couple of new players in there. Tony Kemp, who made his major league debut on Tuesday night, is in left. Colby Rasmussen center, George Springer in right. Luis Valbuena across the diamond from usual spot at first base. Altuve and Correa up the middle. Kylan Moran is the new third baseman. He also just made his major league debut in Chicago. And Jason Castro is catching for A.J. Hinch's ball club. Here is Shin-Soo Choo, and welcome back, Choo. Good to see you back in the lineup. He is right at the top of things and takes McCullers' first pitch for ball one. The average doesn't tell you too much about Choo yet at 188.
Right. You have to think that McCullers was facing a free strike on the first pitch, because there's no way Choo was going to swing at the first pitch. He's very patient anyway, but the first time back after this much time off, I'm pretty sure he was going to look at a pitch.
You know, Choo traditionally an excellent on-base percentage. This year, no difference. He takes ball three. He is only hitting 188, but he has an on-base percentage of 409. You know, that's about as big a disparity as you're going to see. 3-0 pitch from McCullers. And he gets a strike to make it 3-1. For Choo, as you heard John Radigan say, just his 6th ball game of the year. He's been out since the 8th of April. That calf muscle strain. And he takes high, ball 4. And Choo easing back into the leadoff spot, easing on down to first base with a walk in his first appearance. So what else is new?
It's funny, Buzz. It's only 16 at bats to start the season, but he had a 188 average. But he'd walked 4 times. He was hit by a couple of pitches, and his on-base percentage was over 40%.
Well, Choo is aboard, just exactly how it is drawn up in the Spalding baseball guide. Get your leadoff man aboard, then let the guys behind him drive him home. And Ian Desmond takes a strike at the knees. Desmond, the hottest Ranger hitter going right now, has that batting average all the way up to 275 on the heels of a 5-game hitting streak that's seen him hit 409. A couple of home runs, 6 RBI. He's been doing a lot of damage in that number 2 spot. 1 ball and 1 strike. Desmond overall 6 home runs. That is 3rd on the ball club behind Beltre and Odor. Both have 7. 25 RBI is second only to Adrian Beltre. Two balls and a strike. McCullers trying to throw that hard slider or cutter down and away, and he's pulled a couple of them outside the zone. Choo, a modest lead at first. The 2-1 pitch coming to Desmond. Line to right field. It is slicing into the corner and foul. George Springer, the right fielder, kind of shading Desmond that way. But that ball well foul and back out of play. So the count evens at 2 balls, 2 strikes. Lance McCullers making just his 2nd start this year. He had to spend the first month plus on the disabled list. Had some shoulder soreness that lingered from spring training, kept him out. Young came to the major leagues last year as a 21-year-old and won 6 ball games and 13 decisions. 2-2 the count. Still 2-2. Desmond, despite what he had done in the last 5 ball games, or including what he had done in the last 5 ball games, has compiled a .346 average over the last month worth of games, 28 of them. Yeah, another foul.
Bad start that he got off to is a thing of the past. It's sandwiched around an excellent spring training where he was certainly one of the Rangers' best players all spring. And that slow start lasted maybe a week or 10 days, but since then he's probably been the Rangers' best player.
Well, he has done everything. He's moved up the ladder to where he's 6th in the league in scoring runs, 7th in stolen bases. Getting it all done for the Rangers. And another foul off to the right. Well, Desmond making McCullers work here in the early going. McCullers in his first time out didn't fare very well against the Red Sox. They jumped on him after 4 1/3 innings of work. He was out of the ballgame.
Sandy Koufax might have had some trouble against the Red Sox at that point in time. They were scoring 10 runs a game.
Got him swinging. Hard breaking ball down and away, and Desmond not able to reach it. That is out number 1. Now with Prince coming to the batter's box, it's time now to take a look at our TXU Energy Power Player to watch. And tonight's power player, as you would figure, is Prince Fielder. At Minute Maid Park for Prince Fielder, 15 career home runs. That's the most of any opponent's park for Prince, and that's not including the parks where he has been part of the home team. Part of that would be Globe Life Park in Arlington, Comerica in Detroit, and of course Miller Park up in Milwaukee. 15 here at Minute Maid, the most any away park that he has had in his career. 195 average for Fielder with a couple of home runs and 21 RBI. Prince had 3 base hits in the Oakland series. He missed one of the games. He sat out Monday night's game. Ended up getting 2 hits on Tuesday night and 1 again on Wednesday. It's on the outer part of the plate. And it's 1-1. He's in the middle of his longest home run drought of his career. Last home run he hit was back in April 19th. Tap foul at home plate, a ball and 2 strikes. 26 ball games it's been since Prince had his last home run. And that last home run came against the Astros up at Globe Life Park. And for no other reason, Prince would love to hit a home run to make people stop asking about it.
Jeff Bannister would too.
Yeah, Jeff Bannister would also. Chopper up the middle. Altuve has one play, and that's to throw across his body to get Fielder. Chu in safely at second. Nice play by Altuve to realize he couldn't get the sliding Chu and able to make a strong throw to get Fielder for the second out.
I think he's trying to think of a way that he can possibly get to second, but realizes he can't and settles for the 1 out.
So Beltre stepping in, hitting at .271, the team leader with those 27 RBI. And the guy that has been the best for the Rangers this year in these situations. Runners in scoring position. Beltre this year hitting .405. That is 5th in the American League. And he's been a .500 hitter in his last 24 opportunities. That line down there at the bottom, 12 hits in his last 24 trips with runners out there in scoring position. There's that sharp curveball, hard curveball, and it's 0-2 to Beltre. Adrian, coming off the Oakland series, we saw him go 3 for 13 with a home run. Trying to get the Rangers on the board here early. to the right side. Valbuena picks a short hop and will take it to the bag. That will do it. Rangers get a leadoff walk to Chew, but strand him at second base. Half an inning in the books from Minute Maid. Rangers nothing. Astros coming up. Score in the top of the first. Now Tom's going to tell you about the Houston Astros starting lineup.
Jose Altuve is the leadoff hitter, followed by George Springer. Carlos Correa is third. Kobe Rasmus in center field is the cleanup hitter. Evan Gattis is the DH. Colin Moran is the third baseman. He's hitting sixth. Luis Valbuena is at first base. Jason Castro is the catcher. And in left field is Tony Kemp.
A.J. Hinch's lineup facing the 36-year-old right-hander Colby Lewis. Colby on a very good roll, as we were talking about. 4 consecutive starts, and he's gone 7 innings. And the 2-0 mark, don't let that fool you. He's pitched better than that 2-0 record would indicate. 3.12 ERA. Colby has left ball games 4 different times with the lead, and has not gotten a decision in those games. Altuve taking a strike that evens things out. Altuve, a .345 average. He is really having a whale of a year. Pops up the next pitch. Both Wilson and Moreland right at the dugout. Wilson reaching in. Starts to tumble over the railing and is helped A.J. Hinch and company down there. Well, wait a minute. We don't want you in the dugout. Nice enough guy and all that, but no thanks.
Looked like he got a glove on it. If he had a first baseman's mitt, he might have been able to catch it. Let's take a look from this side. That kind of hit right in the tip of his webbing of his glove. Ray Hillman giving him a little bit of help. No problem. Going to get him anyway.
Altuve, a little tapper back to Colby Lewis. That is out number 1. Take a look at the Ranger defense. The rest of it tonight brought to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Ranger outfield now aligned a little bit differently than you've seen in the past. Nomar Mazara moves over to left. Ian Desmond in center. Shin-Soo Choo back in the lineup is in right field. Moreland and Odor on the right side. Andrewson, Beltre on the left side. And Bobby Wilson catching for Colby Lewis. And in case you were wondering about Nomar Mazara, Jeff Bannister quickly pointed out this afternoon that Mazara played most of the second half of last year in left field. So not by any means a completely foreign area for him. George Springer, the number 2 hitter, takes inside. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Springer at .259 with 9 home runs and 29 driven in. Good slider from Colby Lewis. 1-2. Astros team 13th in the league with a .234 team batting average. But their on-base percentage, as you would figure, up a little bit higher than that. They are right in the middle of the pack. A.J. Hinch's club is tied for 6th in runs scored with 178. And another tapper beyond Colby. Odor off-balance throw, but Springer too fast. Colby tried to reach behind his bag and couldn't quite snag it.
That was his only chance. Odor made a beautiful play. You don't get any credit for it when the guy's safe. But if that was a normal runner, he would have had him at first base. Watch the play that Odor makes on the other side of second base. Off balance throw, running toward third base, gets something on the throw, but you have no chance to get Springer because he runs so well. But again, it doesn't take anything away from the skill that went into making that play.
Good infield single, first base hit of the night for either ball club. Springer aboard. Carlos Correa, the number 3 hitter, at the plate now, and he takes ball 1. Correa, 266. He's been swinging a recently hot bat. 7 home runs, 20 driven in. 4 out of 9 is Correa against Colby Lewis. That slider catches the upper reaches of the strike zone. 1-1. Carlos Correa has an active 7-game hitting streak against the Rangers. He's hit .357 over those 7 games. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The umpiring crew tonight, arbiters in this 4-game series. Nick Lentz calling the balls and strikes. C.B. Buckner at first. Fielding Culbreth, the crew chief, out at second. And Jim Reynolds down the line at third. Off the end of the bat, a tough play for Odor. Back to first, not in time. That ball had some kind of spin on it. Looked like a Massey shot in pool. I don't know how Odor was able to reverse himself and make the play. They got the force, and it was a miracle at that.
The ball was hit right off the end of the bat. And so when it looks like it's going in one direction, when it hits the ground, it spins the other direction. So Odor thought it was going to go to his left. Instead, when it hit the ground, the spin caused it to go to the right, and his reflexes allowed him to catch it and get 1 out at second. But again, with a good runner, not enough time to get the relay back to first.
Good grief. Odor's made 2 great plays and only has 1 out to show for it. Now, Colby Erasmus batting cleanup tonight. He takes inside for ball 1. Rasmus, a .234 average, 8 home runs, 30 driven in. He has had a home run in his career against Colby Lewis. Inside corner for a strike.
It's not like he misjudged that ball. It's just impossible to know what's going to happen when it hits the ground when it's spinning like that.
Odor, along with Elvis Andrus on the right side of the diamond, with the left-handed hitting Colby Erasmus at the plate. Couldn't get the curveball. It's a ball and 2 strikes now. Colby breaking that slower breaking ball out to Rasmus. Rasmus brings in a 5-game hitting streak. There's a good look at the right side of the Ranger infield, overloaded with 3 players. Adrian Beltre, the only Ranger on the left side of the diamond.
Springer's only 3 out of 8 stealing bases. He's been caught 5 times. Nobody has stolen a base on Colby like that this year. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Correa at first base.
Rasmus getting jammed, but fights it off foul.
Correa has been much better than that stealing bases. He's 7 out of 9. And Buzz, that's a big improvement for Colby this year.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, he's been a guy that has been relatively easy to steal off of, but this year, I want to see the matchup when Altuve gets on. Altuve's 15 out of 16. No one's stolen off of Colby. That'll be interesting to see if he can.
There goes Correa. Got a huge jump, but his pitch is swung on and missed for strike 3. and we'll never know how that was going to turn out. Rasmus down on strikes. The Astros with a hit, but a runner stranded. After one, no score. Folks, don't wait to visit the Texas Rangers team stores to stock up on all of your Ranger gear. Come on into the majestic Grand Slam shop at Globe Life Park, or you can visit the Fort Worth location at Sundance Square. Find hours and store information at texasrangers.com/retail and swing by today for exclusive Ranger merchandise. Well, Rangers getting set to come to bat here in the top of the second inning. There's a divided pair right there. One Astro, one Ranger fan. Bragging rights on the line for those two. Rougned Odor dropped down from the leadoff spot to the number 5 spot by Jeff Banish, who said he'd like to have Odor in a run-producing situation, the way he's been swinging the bat. And with Chu back in the lineup, the on base at the top of the order is pretty well taken care of. Odor at 275. He and Adrian Beltre both with 7 home runs this year. They lead the ball club in that category. Odor, despite hitting leadoff the better part of the last month, he shoots one to left field for a base hit. Kemp over to cut it off, but Odor going the other way with a leadoff single.
Yeah, we've got to pitch a little more out over the plate. In the Oakland series, they threw him a lot of pitches up and in. This pitch is more on the outside part of the plate. And he does a nice job of lining it into left field. First time I ever saw a guy slide for a ball that was a routine ground ball right to him.
Well, this is a fast track out here. The infield and outfield grass very, very fast. I'm not sure they're that fast, but apparently Tony Kemp was going to make sure it didn't get by him.
Not going to get it by him.
Well, here's Mitch Moreland. And McCullers able to drop that curve in to Mitch. Moreland, a .250 average, 4 home runs, 16 driven in. He has had success against McCullers before. A home run and 4 at bats. Right at the top of the zone, 0-2.
That's a hard curveball that McCullers throws, 82, 83 miles an hour. And it's a sharp breaking curveball. He had an excellent year last year. Struck out 129 batters in 125 innings. Opponents only hit 226 against him. He's only 21 years old last year.
1-2. Yeah, even though the Rangers gave him a tough time in the 2 outings he had against him. Again, most of the Ranger hitters were very complimentary of what they saw from Lance McCullers. The combination of stuff, and he had a pretty good idea how to pitch considering his experience. Must be in the DNA. And Mitch not able to make contact with that big breaking ball. There is strikeout number 2.
Yeah, that's a sharp breaking curveball with power, velocity to it. It's definitely a strikeout pitch. Last year, the games that he pitched against the Rangers were in Texas. At home last year, he was 4-1. He had a 1.86 ERA here and a 1.88 opponent's batting average. He's just about untouchable here. And then he had a great game in the postseason. The division series against Kansas City, left with a 3-2 lead. They ended up losing the game. But he pitched very well in that game too.
Nomar Mazara, also another transferred spot in the lineup. He went down to the number 7 slot. He had hit either second or third in his first 30 games or so. 1 ball and 1 strike. Nomar now batting 7th, and average still up there at 307. 21-year-old, 5 home runs, 13 driven in. Still leading rookies around the American League in most offensive categories. That's out of play to the left. He's tied for first in hits. Nomar has 39 of them. His 307 average is second. And he's third in runs. And also tied for third in home runs. Down to the count here, a ball and 2 strikes. Rougned Odor at first, 1 out, top of the 2nd inning. Scoreless ball game on what has become a beautiful night down here in Houston. Two and 2. Rangers as a team, despite having not scored a lot of runs in the Oakland series, come in tied for second in runs scored, 186. They're tied with Cleveland and trailing the Boston Red Sox. No, they're just barely in sight. Boston up over 230 runs scored already. 257 team average for the Rangers. That's 5th in the league. That pitch just off the outside corner. Looked like McCullers took a little something off the fastball and couldn't get the call. So it's 3 and 2. Now with 1 out, we'll see if Rougned Odor is cut loose at first. Nomar Mazara hitting 7th. He'll be followed by the shortstop, Elvis Andrus. Oops. That's Bobby Wilson. On the move, strike 3. And the throw to second. Must have. Everybody stopped.
Odor was just jogging into second, so he must have thought something happened. Didn't stop.
Didn't stop. That's a balk.
There you go. Field and Co both made the call.
A.J. Hinch out there to talk to Field and see what in the world happened. Show it to you at real speed now. And they're going to say he did not stop up there at the top. You have to make that pause before you deliver. And even though McCullers stops at the belt a little bit before he goes up, his final stop place is the high one up there by his shoulders. And Field and Co saying, no, that wasn't a valid stop. So no pitch, and the balk sends Odor to second base. And it's still 3 balls and 2 strikes. Castro flashing some signs out. And now McCullers said, I misread him. My fault. Go ahead and run it through him again, and I'll pick it up this time. Altuve to the backhand, makes a strong throw to first. Mazzara is out, on to third goes Odor. He's down there now with 2 away for Bobby Wilson.
A lot of curveballs from McCullers, and I guess if you've got that kind of a curveball, you're not too shy about throwing it, that's for sure. An excellent curveball. He's got a good fastball, too. Fastball usually 92 to 95. He's a young kid with great potential. The other thing he does, he's been very consistent. Last year he had 22 starts. In 20 of those starts he gave up 3 earned runs or fewer. Well, he was the kind of guy that would go 6-7 innings and pitch a solid game almost every time out. He's DL'd in spring, coming out of spring training, soreness in his shoulder. Came off the disabled list and he's had 1 start. This is his second one.
First pitch to Bobby Wilson off the outside corner for ball 1. Wilson 250 overall. That's the combined batting average with Detroit and with the Rangers. As a Ranger, he's hitting 290. Both of his home runs, 9 of his 11 RBI, have come in a Texas uniform. Three balls and no strikes.
Hey, one time, Lance. Come on, Lance.
Odor walking down the line from third. And the pitch on the outside corner.
A little bit of a liberal zone so far from home plate umpire Nick Lentz.
Remind him, stop.
That's okay, because that should benefit Colby just as well.
Popped up. Right side of the diamond. Altuve running Bob White off. And just in fair territory, Jose Altuve makes the catch. That'll do it. Rangers get a base runner on a base hit. Odor, though, stranded. After 1.5, Rangers nothing, Astros nothing.
On at Minute Maid Park. I'm standing out here basically straight away center field. This is where the wall that is the left field glass wall disappears to when the roof closes or opens. It goes one way or the other depending if the roof is opened or closed. Because the Rangers consider and plan for a brand new retractable roof stadium. Think about what this roof did today. It was open for early batting practice. Jeff Bannister loved that his guys could hit out here in the sunshine. Then some clouds moved in. It was looking like rain. So for traditional batting practice, they shut the roof again, because it's a beautiful night for baseball. Sort of something for everyone. Baseball purists, fear not. If the Rangers have a stadium like this, you'll be able to watch baseball outside. But if weather moves in or it's too hot, they can turn on the air conditioning. That's what the Rangers are hoping is going to happen with the new ballpark they have planned for 2021, guys.
All right, God, thank you very much. Yep, thank you very much. That's something to look forward to. Hope you all heard the big announcement today that the Rangers and the city of Arlington are asking the city council to approve joining together to build that new ballpark. If the city council approves on Tuesday night, I believe is the vote, then it will be put on the ballot as a November referendum vote. See if they can get the voting public in Arlington to approve it.
Yeah, that artist drawing of the stadium, Texas Live around the stadium, the hotel, that's going to be beautiful when it's finally done. Nice to see that they have some kind of a plan to keep part of the stadium as it exists right now.
Going the other way, indeed, Colin Moran, and Nomar Mazara on the warning track in front of that out-of-town scoreboard, able to make the catch.
That's a lot of entertainment packed into one area, boy.
You got the proposed hotel there on the far right, and then Texas Live, buildings right in the foreground, and then the new home of the Rangers, retractable roof moving from left to right on that.
Yeah, anytime a fly ball goes up here to left field, you hold your breath because it doesn't take much, only 315 feet. That's what the number says down the line anyway. Sometimes the way they go out of here, you wonder if it's even 315.
Colby dropping a curveball into Luis Valbuena. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Colby's thrown 24 pitches, 18 strikes. That's pretty much been the theme for him all season long.
Sure has. You got it dialed in. And this one popped up on the left side of the diamond. Adrian Beltre backpedaling. A 1-2-3 inning. So Colby now has retired the last 5 that he has faced. Astros gone in order. We have finished 2 down here at Minute Maid Park. Rangers and Astros scoreless on Fox Sports Southwest. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Great American Sales Event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Well, the Rangers coming about here in the top of the 3rd inning. Scoreless ball game. Both ball clubs with a hit. Elvis Andrus will start things off, and it's back to the top of the order against Lance McCullers. 1 ball and no strikes. Elvis at .290 for the season. No home runs, but he has driven in 14. Hits this one high in the air to center. Colby Rasmus make the catch. That is out number 1. And before Shin-Soo Choo steps in again, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Shin-Soo Choo has been to the plate now twice, and he has seen 5 pitches. They have all 5 been out of the strike zone. And McCullers drops a breaking ball into him. It's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Every time we come to Houston, there's a lot of Ranger fans here for sure. One group that's here today is a baseball team called Team Attack. It's a 10 and under team. Try to mention all the names. We got all the first names. Carson, Caden, Mason, Casey, Tyler, Hunter, Mason, Bannock, Jose, Wyatt, and Peyton are all here. And most importantly, we want to thank the coaches, Eric, Mark, Darren, and Chris, for bringing along the cookies that they brought to us. Buzz, I don't know if you've had a chance to try one. I have, and about as good as it gets, really. I don't know where they bought them. They're from Temple, Texas.
Yeah, you passed them by me a little too close to my nose. I smelled those things. They look great.
Very nice. Thanks to Team Attack from Temple, Texas. And good luck in your season, too, guys.
Well, 3-2 to Choo. McCullers back with a payoff. Choo had a couple of rehab starts, both of them at Double-A. Excuse me, they were Triple-A. He was supposed to go down to Double-A and on Wednesday, but that game got rained out. So he just had a couple of starts in right field for Round Rock on Sunday and Tuesday. And he takes outside. He's aboard one more time. 2 walks for Choo tonight. 1 out, 1 on. Ian Desmond coming up. A.J. Hinch, his 2nd year at the helm of the Houston Astros. Runner-up to Jeff Bannister in the Manager of the Year balloting last year. The McCullers, both walks have been to Choo. Here's the skipper. Jeff Bannister working that gum over. Ian Desmond, the number 2 hitter who struck out his first time, will step in there again. McCullers, a check of Choo at first. Line drive, base hit to center field. Choo will check in at second. That ball scalded off the bat of Desmond. He missed a pitch just like that his first time up. He did not miss it this time.
Now, you've seen a lot of curveballs. The one that he struck out on was a good one. This is a hanger, and he pays the price for it. Solidly hit line shot to center field. You know, the guy throws you a lot of curveballs. You know it's kind of like a knuckleball. If he throws you a great one, you're going to have a hard time. But occasionally, when they hang them, those are the ones you have to take advantage of. And Ian definitely did right there.
Well, the Rangers runners at first and second now, 1 out. Prince Fielder takes outside for ball 1. And again, the Astros, even with Choo at second base, are shading Correa way up the middle. Now he's on the shortstop side of second technically, but not by much. And that hole at shortstop is wide open. We know that Prince Fielder has shown the inclination and the ability to drive a ball that way with a runner in scoring position. He drives this one that way. Kemp going back. It's over his head and off the wall. Choo will score. Desmond being held to 30, ran through the stop sign. The throw is high. He's safe. A 2-run double for Prince Fielder, courtesy of a run stop sign.
Ian had too much going on that one. He'd reached full speed and he couldn't stop anyway. And he just kept going. Fortunately, Correa, who has an excellent arm, launched it to home, but it was too high. And Ian was picking up speed as he was getting closer to home plate. And he slid under the whole play, and Prince with a bullet over the left fielder's head to left field. That's a great sign. Love to get Prince hot. That'll make everything work.
That's the first one he has driven that way and driven it with authority. He's hit some line drives, center and left center, but that's the first one that he blasted over or between the outfielders.
That was a pitch away, and it's exactly what he wanted to do with it. Go away with it. Great try by Kemp out in left field. He just wasn't tall enough to jump high enough to catch it.
Well, the Rangers on top 2-0. And Adrian Beltre trying to bring home Fielder from second base.
There's the play in left field. Yeah, and when you look at the lineup, it's a little bit different lineup now, and probably a better lineup. Chu is an on-base percentage guy, and now he's in the leadoff spot. Rougned is not an on-base percentage guy, maybe more suited to driving in runs from the 5th spot. And both times Chu's been on, and the second time he started a rally, and the Rangers have a couple of runs.
Well, Beltre, steady diet of breaking balls, couldn't catch up with that last one. Well, that is out number 2, 3rd strikeout for McCullers, and Brent's still out there at second. Rougned Odor now will step in. And his reputation precedes him, as the fans here at Minute Maid Park let Rougned know. Rookie might as well get used to that. He's probably going to hear that for a while.
What do these fans care?
Odor had a solid line drive single to left field his first time.
You know, no matter which side you take in that whole thing, for me it boils down to, at the end of the day, who would I rather be? Jose Bautista or Rougned Odor? I'd rather be Rougned Odor.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the 7, 10, whatever games, 8 game suspension, whatever it is, and be Rougned than to be the other guy.
This one hit well to left center. Rasmus in a hurry back and makes a catch.
I didn't think he was going to get to it.
Over his shoulder as he bumps into the padding out there. Odor gave it a ride about 385 feet, but Rasmus able to run it down. The Rangers are gone in the 3rd, but they get 2 runs on 2 hits and leave 1 after 2.5. The Rangers had just taken a 2-0 lead. Shin-Soo Choo not able to answer the bell for the bottom of the 3rd. So Ryan Rua has come into the ball game. He will play in left field with Mazzara moving back over to right. And as soon as we get some information on Shin-Soo Choo, we will certainly pass it along to you. But that is not good.
No, that's not good. Let's just hope it's nothing serious, that it's just precautionary, because it's pretty obvious already in 3 innings of this game what Chu means to the team.
Yeah.
Leading off, and it's already been on base with 2 walks. That's just something that helps the lineup so much. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. The other thing, Buzz, Kelly Donaldson reminded us of this. They might not have been booing Rougned for the recent altercation. It might go back to last year when the teams had a little bit of a disagreement. I'd forgotten about that Roogie was involved with that with Hank Conger. So thanks, Kel, for bringing that to our attention. They might not be Jose Bautista fans in this ballpark either.
And Colby missing low and inside. It's 3 balls and a strike to Castro. Castro, the number 8 hitter, to be followed by the left fielder, Tony Kemp. Pulled foul down the first base side, and the count now is full. Castro, a .223 average He's been swinging the bat much better for the Astros. Astro comes in with a modest 2-game hitting streak, but he's hit over 300 in his last 3 weeks of play. Payoff pitch to him. Line to center. Here comes Desmond. He's got to play it on a hop. He's kind of a knuckleball out there to him, and he had got a good jump, but decided to sink in front of him for the leadoff single. The fans, the Rangers and Dr. Pepper are teaming up. They're bringing you savings at the ballpark all season long. Just bring a Dr. Pepper can to the box office, or you can use the online coupon code Dr. Pepper, and you receive savings of up to 29% on most Sunday through Thursday games at home. Visit TexasRangers.com/specials. Get your tickets for the May 23rd through 25th when the Rangers take on the Los Angeles Angels.
Rich Rice informs us that Chu has a tight hamstring from running the bases. Tight left hamstring.
Whoa, look at this double play.
He almost threw that ball in the left field.
Get the highlight reel. You got an addition. Need to add on to that one. Odor to Andrus to Moreland, the 61st double play turned by the Rangers, and they may not turn a prettier one all year long.
Yeah, you can turn them, but you can turn them with flair too, and that's with flair. With the glove, a little bit too high, but with the bare hand and the throw back to first, that's fun to watch. You have to have some agility and some coordination to play middle infield in the big leagues, boy.
Yeah.
Man, that was pretty.
No, base is empty, 2 away for Jose Altuve. Just how you want to see the leadoff man come up there. He's not your typical leadoff man. He's already hit 6 out of the ballpark to start games off this year.
Yeah,
this is the most leadoff home runs in baseball.
This guy's some kind of player. We say it every series that we play him, and it just seems like he gets better and better. Leadoff hitter tied for 10th with 9 home runs.
In the air to right center, carrying pretty well, but Mazzara and Desmond, and it's he and Desmond, the center fielder. He'll make the catch. That'll do it. So the leadoff single taken care of by the double play. A 1-2-3 inning. After 3, Rangers leading the Astros by 2. Tomorrow with the return of baseball night in America. It's the Rangers taking on these Astros in the battle for the Silver Boot. You can catch all of the action starting at 6 p.m. or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Mitch Moreland starting off the Ranger 4th inning. Texas on top by a 2-0 count. Mitch saw a steady diet of breaking balls his first time when he went down on strikes. Sees another one there and didn't check his swing quite in time.
An appeal down to third base, and he is turned down as far as the Rangers are concerned. McCullers tonight with 3 strikeouts. And the 0-2 pitch. Take that 4 strikeouts. Mitch gone for the second time. 1 away. Nomar Mazara coming up.
That curveball is a weapon, boy, when he keeps it down there. He got into trouble by walking Chu, and then he hung a curveball to Ian Desmond, and that kind of set the stage for the Rangers' 2 runs. When he keeps that curveball down where it breaks a little bit below the knees, that's very difficult to make contact with.
Mazara, as you can see, had a ground out to second base back in the second. Another breaking ball. Same results. Talked about McCullers getting things in gear. If you haven't gotten him by the 3rd inning or by the 4th inning, he has tended to become much tougher. A young man that you don't get him early, he can settle into a pretty good rhythm. Especially in this ballpark. Going the other way, Mazara has a base hit. The vacated shortstop hole, or at least the widened shortstop hole, very favorable.
Yep. Omar doing what he's been doing since he's been in the big league, and that's using the whole field, hitting the outside pitch the other way. He's had 3 or 4 ground balls to shortstop, going to left field for base hits. Just doesn't look like the kind of guy that would be a candidate to be in have a shift played against him.
No, 1 on, 1 out. Rangers now with 4 base hits. Here's Bobby Wilson, who popped out in the second. 0-1. Our Steel pitch tracker showing you that breaking ball right down at the bottom of the strike zone. You'll remember that both Bobby's home runs this year, grand slams. Both of them turning games around. First one in Detroit, second one at home on this past homestand. There are the numbers for Lance McCullers we were talking about. First time through the order, a .571 batting average. It drops down to .222 and .333 the 3rd time. And he gets Bobby Wilson. 5 strikeouts, 2 gone for Elvis.
He just throwing one curve after the other. Not like a guy that's a finesse pitcher. This guy's tuning it up there at 94, 95 miles an hour. But I guess, Buzz, when you've got that velocity, that doesn't hurt you with your curveball either.
No,
does it?
not at all. There's a fastball for a strike. No, it's you make that combination pitches. One it's so drastically different movement wise, and they're both hard. I mean, it's a hard fastball compared to other fastballs. It's a hard curveball compared to other curveballs. Guys just don't have a whole lot of time to pick between them. Elvis gets it inside the line, down the third baseline. Mazara being waved around. Here comes the throw from Correa. It's on the mark. They got him with a tag. Well executed relay from Kemp to Correa to Jason Castro. Mazara caught at home. Well, the Rangers had one go for him and one go against him. This one not in the run column for the Rangers. No runs, 2 hits, 1 man left after 3.5. Still 2-0 Texas. Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. Well, some pretty good defense by the Astros, executing that relay throw to get Nomar Mazara at the plate, cut down a Ranger run and maybe more. Now Colby back to work, and the first pitch to George Springer is lofted to shallow right.
I thought for a second he didn't see it.
I don't think he did for a minute.
Odor was sprinting out to right field.
Mazara kind of throwing his hands up, and Odor answering the prayer. He was out there, but then Nomar did regain sight. It's twilight down here, and you remember down here in Houston, just like up in Arlington, it can be a difficult thing picking the ball out of the sky right now. This color of sky and the color of ball.
You see it come off the bat, so you have a general idea where it is, and all you can do is hope that you're looking in the right direction, and eventually it comes out of that, and you pick it up, and that's what happened to him.
See the kind of the dark powder blue sky, and that baseball gets up there and looks just about the same color. Carlos Correa, a swinging strike that evens things out now at 1-1. Colby Lewis on a pretty good roll the last couple of innings. He's needed only 19 pitches to get 7 outs, including the first out in this inning. Backing out of play, it's 1-2.
They're talking about McCullers featuring a really good power curveball today. Colby is featuring a pretty good combination of the stuff himself. Slider, curveball, effective fastball, and really through 3 1/3, good command with his pitches.
Our steel pitch tracker showing in that last one up, just changing the eye elevation for Carlos Correa. 2-2 the count. Just off the outer edge. So 3-2. Correa batting third. He'll be followed by the center fielder Colby Rasmus. Line to center. That's down for a base hit. Well, Correa got one that kind of stayed in the middle of the plate. Third base hit of the night. And our Kubota Power Stats talking about Colby Lewis this evening in this ballpark. 6-0 record, a 1.31 ERA. How about that? 1.73 opponent's batting average. 4 walks, 45 strikeouts for Colby Lewis. Now, you'll remember going back to 2010, 2011, 2012, Astros just beginning to get their act together with younger players and kind of filling in around it. They were very much prone to the strikeout, but last 3 years now, that's not the case. Colby putting up impressive numbers in this park, no matter who was in the batter's box for the Astros. A.J. Hinch. That's why it was so surprising that Hinch and the Astros got off to the start they did this year. It looked like they were ready to take off and make a prolonged run through the American League for the next several years with the cast of characters they have. But baseball's a funny game sometimes. As soon as you feel like you got it locked in, something pops up, or a couple things pop up, and kind of make you scratch your head.
Yeah, it was tough to know exactly what the Astros were last year. Their best baseball came in the first 2.5 months of the season. The second half of the season, they were okay, but they were 500 to a little bit below 500 team. But I think the thing that you thought about them was they're young, and their younger players will continue to get better and better. And they probably will, some of them. But
Rasmus fouls that straight back. It's 0-2.
Bobby still doesn't know where that ball is. Luckily, he didn't have to worry about it.
Adrian's down there directing him. He's giving him hand signals.
It's got to be around here somewhere. Help me, guys.
Somebody point to it anyway, at least.
Maybe the fans can help him. Correa had a huge jump when there he goes again.
The throw to second, not quite in time. And Elvis going to keep that tag on there. Well, the stolen base for Correa.
I'm going to say he had a huge jump earlier in the game when Rasmus struck out. Didn't matter because it was the last out of the inning. But he got another good jump, and he is a pretty good base stealer too. He's got very good speed. He's 8 out of 10 now stealing bases.
And for the Astros as a team now, that's their 39th stolen base this year. That's the most in baseball. And Erasmus tied up with that breaking ball down and in. And Colby Lewis gets his second punch out. Second time that he's gotten Erasmus. Now tonight's forward leaderboard. I'll show you the stolen base leaders for the month of May. The Astros on top with 20 of them. Giants have 18. And then the Rangers are tied with Milwaukee for third, 17. Giants are running team this year. It's a little unusual for the Bay Area. Here's Evan Gattis. And first ball swing is popped up. Elvis makes the catch, and that'll do it. Colby able to strand the runner. Carlos Correa had a base hit and a stolen base, but he's left down at second. No runs a hit, one left. After 4, Rangers leading 2-0.
Rangers fans here in Houston at Minute Maid Park, I tell them all the same thing. It's like a public service. Where do you eat around here? Just a couple of blocks from the ballpark is one of the great Tex-Mex places in all of Houston. It's called Irma's Southwestern Grill. There it is, just a couple of blocks down on Texas Street from the ballpark. And this is a place where they don't have a menu. They have a chalkboard inside that basically tells you what's on the menu that day or what you can choose from. But in my case, the waiter just pretty much interviews me and decides that I would like the pork carnitas. There are the, look at how beautiful they are. That is a flavor explosion for the mouth right there. The pork carnitas, and fly ball out there into right field from Ryan, and beautiful, wonderful. And but what do you wash that flavor explosion down with? That looks like an alcoholic drink, but I would not have drunk that at lunch, guys. That's lemonade, so good that it's been featured on the Food Network, and I tried to get them to give me the recipe, you know, an idea of what makes it so tasty. Of course, it's been on the Food Network. They're not going to give away their secret. Best lemonade I've ever had, Irma's Southwestern Grill, guys.
All right, John, thank you.
I've been there, John. I would agree with you. That's a great place.
Heard that lemonade's a food group of itself.
I want to try those carnitas. I want that taste explosion in my mouth.
Ryan Rua fly to right for the first out. Here's Ian Desmond, who has singled and struck out. He has scored a run. And now up to 277 with the average. And adding on the run scored. And We mentioned up among the league leaders to begin this evening. Takes a strike. 1-1. For Desmond, his 31st run scored this year. He started tied for 6th tonight with 30. Rangers 2 runs on 5 hits. The Astros no runs on 3 hits. 2-1. Ian, with that single last time up, extended his hitting streak now to a season high 6 straight ball games. He has gone 10 for 24. Laid off the breaking ball, but it was called a strike anyway. McCullers to the wind. The 2-2 pitch. Tapped slowly out to Correa at short. 2 gone. Critchfield would be next. The fielder drove in both runs for the Rangers in that 3rd inning. He boomed a double to left field out of the reach of Tony Kemp. And for Prince now, 23 RBI this this season. One ball and no strikes. Not only had Prince been in a home run drought, he'd been in pretty much an RBI drought too. Had an RBI in the Oakland series. This his first multiple RBI game in a while. One pitch coming to him. Now 2-1. Fielder now just a tick below the 200 mark, 199 as he faces McCullers. Three and one. So Prince trying to get aboard here with 2 outs. Adrian Beltre, the Ranger cleanup hitter, is in the on-deck circle. Breaking ball catches the inside corner. Full count to Fielder. Well, McCullers has walked 2 tonight. 2 to the same man, Shin-Soo Choo. And Choo, as we mentioned, out of the lineup with that sore left hamstring. Payoff pitch on the way. Just outside. Tried the back door and found it to be locked. 1 on 2 out. Adrian Beltre coming up, and folks, want to tell you about a great new season ticket package. It's all for pyromaniacs. The Friday Fireworks 9-game plan. It guarantees you tickets to 9 Friday night games with post-game fireworks, plus a 10th game absolutely free. And this package includes an exclusive postseason pre-sale opportunity and the ability to exchange 1 game in your plan for a Sunday through Thursday non-premier game. To secure your Pyro pack, just call 972-RANGERS or visit TexasRangers.com/fireworks. Beltre tonight has grounded to first and struck out. Adrian with the average, as you can see, at 268. Looks like the changeup that McCullers throws occasionally. 0-2. Adrian, going back to the start of 2012, has hit .364 against Houston. Cut off by the third baseman Moran across the diamond. Beltre is retired, and the Rangers are gone. No runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded. We played half. you to take advantage of discounted tickets and spend the evening with two of your favorite things, your daughter and the Texas Rangers, on Father-Daughter Night. That's coming up on May 27th. A post-game father-daughter themed fireworks show will follow the Rangers-Pirates game that night. Visit TexasRangers.com/Family Days to order your tickets today. Colin Moran, the young third baseman, start things off for the Astros, and Colby Lewis goes to work on him with a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Moran flied out to left back in the second inning. Astros with 3 hits against Colby Lewis. And that pitch a bit low. It's 2-1. Colby has not walked anybody. Colby, as a matter of fact, has not had a problem with base on balls at all lately. This one lined to left. Ruick coming on and makes the catch. Now, part of the advantage of having that short porch in left field is you can play shallow in left, or you naturally play more shallow and cut down some balls like that.
Yeah, that was a well-stroked ball by Moran. Hit it hard. Moran comes across and makes an easy catch.
And for most hitters, Tom, with a short porch like that, in Boston would be the same thing. Do you tend to play more toward the alley? You're cut down a little bit toward the alley?
I've noticed that both outfielders are doing that, because you know that anything down the line is not going to go that far. You're going to be able to go over and get it easily. So you might as well cover the deepest part of the field, and that's more towards center field. Yeah, I think you definitely do that. Kind of seeing that today.
Valbuena fights off the next pitch foul, and he's down in the count. No balls and 2 strikes. Luis Valbuena popped out to Adrian Beltre back in the second. 0-2 from Lewis. This one popped up behind home plate. Coming back, Bobby Wilson, but that's back in the second row. If you notice the change in the brightness down here, it's just like at Globe Life Park in Arlington. The lights have been replaced with LED lighting. Both ballparks are going to that. Matter of fact, I think there's 7 parks now in the major leagues that have replaced their lightings with LEDs. Sure makes a difference in how bright the field looks.
Valbuena last year hit 25 home runs. By far the most he's ever had. He was only up 434 times. That's a pretty good ratio per at bat. This year he's only hit 2 so far.
Colby with another 0-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Valbuena, who earlier in the season played a lot of third base. Now across the diamond, this is his second start in the last several days over at first. Colby trying to backdoor that breaking ball, and Valbuena fights it off foul. Talking about Colby and the lack of walks. Go back to the last 4 starts before tonight. He had walked a total of 2 batters in 28 innings. Never more than 1.
4 starts of 7 innings. He walked 2.
Right. And he has not walked anybody tonight in 4 1/3. So that's being on a pretty good roll.
Sure is. He just looks more free and easy and looser this year.
Yeah.
And I think his velocity shows it too. It's not dramatic, but I think he's more often inclined to pop a 90-mile-an-hour fastball now than he was last year. His command is
got him swinging. Yeah.
Better. There were games where it would be really good and times where it would be really good. Obviously, it had to be really good. He won 17 games last year. It's not like he pitched poorly last year. It's just this year, it seems like inning after inning after inning, he's very consistent with all his pitches and with his command.
Yeah, that strength. You get the core in better shape, and his knee's not bothering him anymore, so he's able to do the work. But he's maintained everything throughout a ball game, whereas he's able to go into the 7th inning and still have plenty left if he needed to go longer. And that's something last year you really couldn't count on. Occasionally it would happen, like you say, but more often than not, there'd be a drop-off as you got deeper into the game. There's not a drop-off now. Low and in to Jason Castro, 1 ball and 1 strike. Castro singled in his first time to the plate. He was immediately erased on a double play grounder. Rangers in the overshift to him with Elvis way over the first base side of second. He's about where a normal second baseman would play in a straightaway position. And Rougned Odor, Rangers second baseman, out in the rover spot in right field. Saw Adrian Beltre just about midway between second and third.
Just keeps throwing it in there. 2 before it were a little bit low. Castro's got a good eye. He took him. That one was tempting. He swung at it. Castro's walked 17 times in his last 19 games. Over the last 19 games, his on base percentage is .478. See you later.
That comeback fastball, and it came back right to the corner. Colby with back-to-back strikeouts. Now with 4 in the ball game. 1, 2, 3, and gone are the Astros. After 5, Rangers 2, Astros nothing. Fox Sports Southwest. Dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Mary Sandlin from Comanche, Texas will win $400. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Mary is going to receive $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Well, Mary, we've got Rougned Odor, Mitch Moreland, and Nomar Mazara. First 3 Rangers to hit for you. I kind of like the chances. These guys can pop the ball out of the ballpark any given moment. Odor tonight will lead things off here in the 6th inning, is 1 for 2. Rougned had a leadoff single in the 2nd. Not as far as 3rd, but the Rangers stranded him there. Last time up, he sent Colby Rasmus about 390 feet from home plate to haul in a long fly ball. 1 ball and no strikes. Odor at .278 with the average. McCullers hits that backdoor breaking ball. It evens the count at 1-1. McCullers about ready to throw his 84th pitch of the night, and I would imagine that A.J. Hinch and company are keeping a pretty close eye on him now. This is with the 2 rehab starts, the 4th outing for McCullers. He had 89 pitches last time in Boston. That was compressed into 4 2/3 innings. It's out of play well down the left field line, but it's 2-2. The other 2 rehab starts that he had at AA and AAA, 48 pitches and then 64 pitches for him. Phillies, the right-hander, loosening out in that bullpen for the Astros. Michael Phillies, foul down, 2-2. McCullers reading the signs. The right-hander goes to the wide. Got him swinging. Good breaking ball. Odor, the 6th strikeout victim for McCullers. 1 out. Mitch Moreland coming up. But first of all, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. Thank you, Dana. Mitch Moreland, first ball swinging. And Valbuena underhands to McCullers at first. That is out number 2. No bases empty for Nomar Mazara. Mazara tonight smacked a single the other way. It through the shortstop hole his last time up. Also grounded out to second. 1 out of 2. Batting average right at .310. .1-0 pitch. A ball and a strike. In case you missed it earlier, Shin-Soo Choo back in the lineup tonight. He walked both times from that leadoff spot this evening. Walked and scored in the 3rd, and apparently in his trip around the bases in that inning, left hamstring tightened up on him, so he was taken out for precautionary reasons. Ryan Rule back in. Nomar Mazara, who had been called up to the big leagues for his major league debut back on the 10th of April in place of the then injured Shin-Soo Choo. He has gone on strikes here, and that'll do it. A couple of punch outs in the inning. 7 tonight for McCullers. Rangers out in order after 5.5. It remains the Rangers 2, the Astros nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. To baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. And in case you missed it, the city of Arlington and the Rangers announced plans for a new baseball stadium. A flip backhanded by Colby, and they get Tony Kemp. What a play by Colby Lewis.
How did he do that? That's not the first time he's done that either. Rugi's going to have to come in and find out how Colby did that.
That's a veteran move right there.
Backhand flip. Wow. In the old days, we used to play flips out in the outfield.
Yep.
Maybe that's where Colby got that from.
It probably was. You'd see that a lot in those flip games.
That didn't even look like it was lucky. That looked like he knew exactly what he was doing. It flipped hard right straight to Mitch.
Yeah, that is a veteran move right there.
That sure was.
I think that's what Adrian told him too. He was smiling when Colby got back to the mound. Adrian was waiting for him, smiling, and nice going, vet. So 1 out on the attempted bunt, and Altuve drives one to left center, but Ian Desmond got a good break on the ball and catches up with it quickly for out number 2. We'll go back to T-Mobile in case you missed it again. City of Arlington Rangers announcing new plans for a new baseball stadium that could open as soon as 2021. The new ballpark design features a retractable roof, air conditioning, and will seat between 42 and 44,000 fans. And a lot of pendings on that. There's an artist rendering of Texas Live, the entertainment district that will be right next to the new ballpark. Arlington City Council certainly has to approve that plan this coming week, and then if they do approve it, it would go on the ballot initiative for November. And the voters of Arlington would have the opportunity to okay the financing for it.
Springer just took 2 fastballs. Go behind. 0-2. 49 strikes, 19 balls for Colby so far.
And the 0-2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Springer, an infield single in the first. Last time up, fly to right field.
Springer's cut down on the strikeouts and added to his walks. He's walked 23 times. That's tied for 7th. Could have been.
Yes, it could have been. Looked like Nick Lentz really wanted to throw that right hand up in the air and stopped himself. Nick, the home plate umpire. 2-2. Had an opportunity again, but that not quite as tempting. So a full count to Springer. If Springer gets aboard, Carlos Correa would bat in this inning.
Actually, looking at his numbers, he really hasn't cut down on his strikeouts as much as he's just added to his walks.
Now, both he and Altuve have done a great job of increasing their walk totals. Altuve up among the league leaders.
And Rasmus as well.
Yeah. Payoff pitch. Our AT&T high-speed replay. We'll go back to last night in Chicago. Abreu, a drive to right, and welcome to the Rangers world, Jose Abreu. George Springer going up over the barrier, pulling it back in, and you can take that highlight of just about any Ranger game, it seems like, for the last couple of years.
That's why they call him the Spider-Man. You know, we'll never forget the one that he took away from Leonis Martin. That would have been a game winner.
Yeah.
It turned out, I believe, to be a game the Rangers lost in extra innings, too. Ranger counterpart, athlete-wise, is Ian Desmond. They're similar type athletes.
Yeah.
Looked like they could have played any sport they wanted to play.
There is strike 3. He got that call, and that was letter perfect. The 8th pitch of the at-bat. And Springer gone, throwing his stuff away toward the dugout. 3 up and 3 down. Colby Lewis painting the outside corner. After 6, Rangers leading by 2. It was provided by Prince Fielder, whose booming double off of over Tony Kemp in left scored Chu and Ian Desmond. And that has been the sum total of the offense for either ball club. Meanwhile, Colby Lewis making sure that stands up. He has been dealing tonight. The right-hander with 5 strikeouts, no walks again. Only 3 hits in 6 shutout innings. And his mound opponent, Lance McCullers, has been retired for the evening after 6 innings. Michael Phillies, a big right-hander, a 22-year-old out of the Dominican Republic, appearing in his 8th ball game. Another inflated 6.43 ERA. He will come in here throwing some high heat.
Yeah, he's got the high ERA, and he's also struck out 20.
Yep.
So he's at times dominating, but at times he can give it up too.
Pitch to Bobby Wilson, a little bit low. Wilson leading off the 7th inning. Bobby 0 for 2, a strikeout, and a pop out to second. 96 up above shoulder high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Feliz goes 6'4". He's listed at 231. That's a big man out there. Let's put it that way. Little cue shot off the end of the bat. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Looks like for an off-speed pitch, that's that split-fingered fastball that so many guys are trying to incorporate into their repertoire, especially relievers that throw hard. Seems to be a pretty easy pitch for him to pick up, and takes off the speed without doing something drastic to the grip. There is a called 3rd strike. Fastball at 98 at the knees. And Bobby Wilson gone for out number 1. Elvis Andrus is going to be next. Folks, you know them and you love them. The red, the green, and the blue dots from the Texas Rangers dot race, the original dot race in Major League Baseball. And this season, collect all 3 dots in a limited edition bobblehead series presented by Nitto Tires. The blue dot is the first in the series. It'll be given away to the first 15,000 fans that come out to Globe Life Park on Sunday, May 29th. Rangers are taking on the Pirates that day in interleague play. Log on to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets today. Elvis, a 2-hopper out to his counterpart, Carlos Correa. 2 gone. Well, Elvis 1 for 3 as he makes a U-turn down at first and heads back to the Ranger dugout. Lees now will face Ryan Rua. Rua 0 for 1 since entering the ballgame in place of the injured Shin-Soo Choo back in the 3rd inning. Lance McCullers worked the first 6 innings for the Astros here tonight. Allowed both runs on 5 base hits. He walked 3 and struck out 7. Nothing in 2 to Rua. Ryan was 2 for 11 in the series up in Oakland. Prior to tonight, prior to the activation of Shin-Soo Choo, Rua had started the last 8 ball games in a row. 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Couple of strikeouts in the inning for Michael Feliz. The Rangers gone 1-2-3. We will take the stretch down here at Minute Maid Park with the Rangers leading the Astros 2-0 on Fox Sports Southwest. schedule. Rangers and Astros tonight, the first of 3. Tomorrow night, it'll be on Fox. You'll tune in to Fox to catch the Rangers-Astros second game, and we'll finish up here on Sunday. Then it's back home, 3 against the Angels, 3 against the Pirates after an off day on Thursday, and then back to finish the month up in Cleveland over Memorial Day. Colby Lewis going to work here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Colby has been outstanding. 75 pitches tonight as he jumps ahead very quickly of Carlos Correa. No balls and 2 strikes. With that 76 pitches, 54 strikes for Colby Lewis. 22 balls. Correa has one of the 3 base hits that Colby has allowed this evening. Up the middle, hit Colby. And Rougned Odor is going to make the catch for the out. Colby, fortunately, had his back turned and was able to kind of bend over, get his head out of the way. That ball ricocheted right off of his middle to upper back. And Rougned Odor made the catch for the out.
That's why you say you've never seen. It's something that you say you can never say you've seen it all, because something happens in baseball that you've never seen before. That ball was a bullet. That hit his head?
I don't know if it hit the back. I couldn't tell if it, honestly, it hit the back of his head. I saw it hit. I think it grazed off his back and almost grazed off his glove. I think he got his head out of the way.
Good gracious. I'd like to have the bat speed of that ball. That had to come off the bat at 110. I think it hit his head.
It might have. It might very well have. You're right, Tom.
If you hit that ball and the second baseman catches it in the air, you've just had some bad luck. Thank goodness it glanced off Colby. I think the guys are looking at it in almost disbelief.
Yeah.
That he can stay in the game.
Matt Lucero out there, the Rangers assistant trainer. They are, well, if they haven't done it yet, they haven't, obviously, but they'll get him to the bench and give him the concussion protocol. We're going to look from this angle and see if we can get a better idea. It did, right off the back of the head.
The side of the head at 100+ miles an hour, and he's staying in the game.
Look, Correa's looking at him like, at least fall down.
Yeah, that's my best ball. You didn't even flinch. Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, now I have never seen that before. That's a brand new one. The one out, here's Colby Rasmus, who has struck out both times as he's faced Colby. And even with a knot in the back of his head, he throws a strike.
Umpire said after taking that one off the head, I'm going to give you that first pitch, son.
Man.
How many times do you think that's going to be on the highlight shows tonight?
I don't know how many times can they get it on.
As many highlight shows as they are, it's going to be on there.
Yeah, at least once every half hour.
Wow.
Rasmus has gone down swinging both times that he has faced Colby this evening. There's the big curveball that dips in to make it 1-2. Colby, 5 strikeouts tonight. There's still a buzz going around this ballpark about that line drive off of Colby. And Jake Diekman loosening in the Ranger bullpen.
Colby's at 81 pitches, only 23 balls, 58 strikes and 23 balls.
Now the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Kind of marveling at the 58 strikes, 24 balls. Imagine Max Scherzer in his 20 strikeout game threw something like 115 pitches and only threw 19 balls in 9 innings.
You saw the inning by inning breakdown and the model of consistency. Well, you can see it for Colby Lewis. That in an iron will. Take a line drive off the back of the head. Got to have an iron will to be in there still pitching and pitching effectively. 2-2 pitch. Try it again. Colby, in his streak of 7-inning outings, has never thrown more than 106 pitches in those 7 innings. His first 7-inning outing against the Angels, he used only 80. He had back-to-back outings against the White Sox in Toronto, 98 and 97. All of them completing 7 innings. And here he is tonight with 85. Down the right field line, it is foul. Got into that corner. We had to wait for first base umpire C.B. Buckner to make the call. We can't see it from up here. Off the sidewall. Rasmus back to the plate. Colby a .231 average. Taking over in center field, and for the Astros, they've had a hard time keeping center fielders. Carlos Gomez, the latest to go on the disabled list. Pulled foul. But you look at the Astros lineup too, they have potentially 3 guys to play center field that have played center field. Rasmus and Marisnick and George Springer's played center field on occasion. All of them capable. It's not like A.J. Hinch doesn't have somebody to feel comfortable about playing out there. He's trying to find the right combination of guys to get some W's. And Rasmus gone on strikes, and Colby pumping it up. A shoulder-high fastball by him for his 6th strikeout. 2 gone. Evan Gattis coming up. But first, let's head back and check in with Dana Larson for a Chevy game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Here's Evan Gattis, who has popped out, grounded out, and he's going to single into left field. Picked on a breaking ball that stayed up a little bit for him. And Gattis gets just the 4th hit of the night against Colby Lewis. 2-out single. And Colin Moran coming up.
Gattis went down to Double-A ball to practice catching, in case they want to use him to get a little more offense into their lineup certain days. So he's been down there for a while. He just got back. He's played 3 or 4 games since he's come back. Huge reason why the Astros had a good season last year, his presence in the middle of the lineup.
Yeah, he caught last night for the Astros against Chris Sale. That was the first game he'd caught in over a year and a half at the big league level.
Right.
Fastball for a strike. Moran 0 for 2 tonight. Both times going to left field. Once a sharp line drive that was right at Ryan Ruin. The other a fly ball earlier in the ballgame. 1 on, 2 out. Bottom of the 7th inning. Good breaking ball. That back foot slider from Colby Lewis. 0-2 to Moran. Colin Moran and Tony Kemp both made their major league debuts in that White Sox series. Both of them on the same night, Wednesday night. Fouled away. Moran came over from the Miami Marlins that traded at the trade deadline in 2014. Same one that brought Jake Marisnick to the Astros. Colby ready for another 0-2 pitch. We'll try one more time. Moran just 23. He was called up from AAA Fresno, where he hit .288. Club leading 22 RBI in 32 games. Colby a check of Gattis at first. And a 2-hopper out to Rougned Odor. That'll do it. Nice job by Colby after getting beamed by that line drive Showed no ill effects. One left on a base hit. We're going to the 8th. Rangers on top of the Astros 2-0. In the top of the 8th inning, and after Colby went into the dugout, he got congratulations from everybody, and everybody stood around him like they were trying to figure out, who is this guy? Got a big knot on the back of his head. Just got hit by a line drive and stayed in the ball game. And Matt Lucero's asking him if he's okay. He said, "What do you mean I'm okay? Of course I'm okay."
There's where it hit him, right?
Yeah,
right.
Got a bump right back there. Wow. And Jeff Bannister walked down and gave him a handshake and said, "Nice going. That's all we need for you tonight."
Brugge almost misjudged it off his head. He almost went too far, had to lunge back to catch it. That would have been a shame if that ball wasn't caught.
Well, you'd run out of pitchers if you tried to practice those too much. See what kind of spin they have coming off guys' heads. Probably depend on how much hair they had too, how much spin you get.
That's a good point.
But that's not a drill you want to participate in spring training. Ian Desmond beginning things here for the Rangers in the 8th inning. Desmond 1 for 3 tonight. And a single back in the 3rd came around to score on Fielder's 2-run double. That's been the only damage done on the scoreboard tonight. 3 balls and a strike now. So Ian trying to get aboard to start off this Ranger 8th. Prince Fielder is next. Rangers tonight 2 runs on 5 hits. Astros no runs on 4 hits as Colby Lewis has again been masterful. 3-2. Desmond back in, taps the outside corner with the business into that bat. Payoff pitch on the way. Got him swinging. 95 in a pretty good spot. That is out number 1.
I'd like to know how this guy got a 6.43 ERA.
Folks, want to remind you, come on out and meet Jake Diekman, Ranger pitcher and Rangers captain. That's coming up on May 24th at Whataburger on Sycamore School Road in Fort Worth. They'll be there at 10:30 in the morning. Don't miss this chance to win some great prizes and to meet one of your favorite Rangers at Whataburger. Visit TexasRangers.com/appearances for more information. Prince Fielder takes that off-speed pitch for strike 1. Fielder has doubled and walked. 1 for 2 tonight. That batting average still just a click shy of the 200 mark. As Phillies gets him to move those feet back a bit.
I can't imagine that he's been throwing like this every time he's gone out there with a 6.43 ERA. He's throwing 98 miles an hour and struck out 3 out of 4 guys.
Either that or he's been pitching in the next league up and they just
maybe
brought the numbers with him. That's pretty good stuff.
He's given up 14 hits in 14 innings and 3 home runs. Not many walks. Well, he's got 23 strikeouts, a little over 15 innings.
Two-one pitch. 2-2. With Fielder up there, the Astros again in that extreme overshift. With Moran, the third baseman, playing in a normal shortstop position. Everybody else on the right side of the diamond. And Correa, the shortstop, a good 10 steps to the first base side of second. 3-2 now. No, one outfielder trying to get aboard. Adrian Beltre is getting ready in that on-deck circle. Saying, come on, Prince. Get on there. I want to bring us both home. Rangers haven't had a hit since back in the fourth inning. Fielder settling back in. Phillies agrees to the wide. Into center field. Rasmus coming on, diving, and comes up with it. Rasmus got a late break. Ball hit, miss-hit a little bit by Fielder, and Rasmus showing you some pretty good closing speed.
Yeah, Rasmus, pretty good outfielder. He's not afraid to dive, and we've seen him make a play today. Right there with the all-out dive, and earlier in the game off Odor, he made a beautiful running catch right in front of one of the padded posts out there in left center field. Looked like a ball that might be an extra base hit. And he's covering some ground out there.
Oh, 2 away. Here's Beltre, who is 0 for 3. Right at the bottom of the strike zone. It is 0-1. Adrian has grounded out twice and struck out. All of the 3 at-bats previously against Lance McCullers. Foul back. Look out, Tom.
I'm getting out of the way for sure.
Take a look at our Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. Since the start of 2013, Beltre 4th in the majors with 582 hits. Jose Altuve is 1st with 659. One and two. Say, Tom, you still got the good instincts. You got a great jump on that ball going back here.
I did. I'm diving right behind you. The only thing that can happen if one comes back like that is something bad. Because even if you catch it, you got a chance to hurt your hand.
Yeah.
Rick Manning tried to catch one, I think in Anaheim maybe. He's announcing for Cleveland. He was a great center fielder in his day. Glanced off his hand, broke his hand. He's in cast for a couple of months.
That's not good.
That's not good. No. So I'm ducking out of the way every chance I get for one.
Feliz with a 1-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Michael Feliz gets 4 strikeouts in 2 innings. Rangers gone here in the 8th after 7.5 it remains. The Rangers 2, the Astros nothing on Fox Sports Southwest. Jimmy John's delivery of the game for you. How about the night Colby Lewis had? Colby, 7 shutout innings again. And he got the Astros this time. That's no news for the Astros down here. Seems to be a habit. Doing it all, Colby Lewis tonight. With the strikeout pitch, the great defense, and some more painting. Plus, it took a line drive off the coconut that turned into an out. And he gets congratulations from all around our Jimmy John's deliveries of the game. Jake Diekman, the 29-year-old southpaw out of Nebraska, is on now, his 20th appearance of the year. 0-1 record, but 10 holds to his credit in his 19 appearances up to tonight.
Well, they'll be trying to hold a lead for Colby. Colby's had 3 leads that the bullpen has lost for him this year, including his last start. Had one in pretty good control, 5-2 after 7 innings in his last start. Rangers bullpen couldn't hold that lead. Hopefully they'll be able to do that for him today. 5 straight starts with 7 innings and 2 walks in those 5 starts, 35 innings.
And Marlon Gonzalez, first ball swinging.
Go foul.
Crunches it to left field, but pulls it foul. And he knew it the minute it left his bat, it was going to be foul.
I thought that was going about 100 feet farther.
I did too. Marwin Gonzalez is pinch hitting for Luis Valbuena. Gonzalez with those numbers, a .233 average, 3 home runs, 11 driven in. He's a switch hitter. So up there from the right side. Astros with just a 3-man bench. Jake Diekman went with a breaking ball that time. 0-2. Last time we saw Jake Diekman was at home against Toronto in that finale. 1-2. Jake didn't work at all in the Oakland series. Matter of fact, the back end of the Ranger bullpen didn't work after that first night in the Oakland series. Should be pretty well rested. The 1-2 pitch. That will even the count.
Buzz, you're talking about the Astros and how a lot of their hitters have increased their walks, and they definitely have done that. They lead the American League in walks right now. They also lead the American League in strikeouts, but a lot of their players are walking at a higher rate this year, much higher rate than they have in the past. So you'd have to think it was something that was stressed with off-season work, maybe.
Jake Diekman forcing Marwin Gonzalez to have a look at that, and he didn't like what he saw. And that's called strike 3.
Let's take a look. I'd call that a strike, and so would our Fox Traps, and more importantly, so would Nick Lentz, the home plate umpire.
Yeah, he's the one in all that.
When this game's over, I don't think the pitchers will have a complaint. It's a fairly liberal strike zone, not an outrageous strike zone or anything like that, but it probably has favored the pitcher from time to time, which is fine.
On both sides?
On both sides, yeah.
Yep.
McCullers got a lot of pitches. Borderline pitches, not pitches that are bad pitches, but pitches that could go either way. I think on those pitches that you say are very close and could go either way, probably more than 50% of them went the pitcher's way today.
Jason Castro is singled and struck out. 0-2. Rangers with Castro up there, even with having Jake Diekman on the mound, going to an overshift. They put Elvis and Rugdead and Mitch Moreland on the right side. Adrian Beltre all by himself over there, midway between second and third. Diekman's 0-2.
Hey, boy. That boy, JC, come on. Find a way to get
1 ball and 2 strikes.
We're talking about Castro earlier. He's one of those guys that has increased his walks by a lot. Last year he walked 33 times in 103 games. He's walked 17 times in his last 19 games coming into this. 21 walks already, so he's 2/3 of the way to his walk total in a quarter of the games.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Jake Diekman. 2 away. Tony Kemp now coming up. Now he's going to be called back. Tyler White instead. Our next telecast is presented by AT&T High-Speed Internet. Tune in to Fox tomorrow night. It's 6 o'clock. Ball game down here. Ian Desmond of the Rangers, George Springer, and the Astros in Game 2 of this 3-game series. And we'll be back with you on Sunday. But 6 o'clock tomorrow on Fox. Tyler White coming off the bench to pinch hit for Tony Kemp. White a .243 average for the season. 7 home runs, 18 driven in. And Jake Diekman gets him on the fists. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, the Astros now, having used both Gonzalez and White this inning, down to 1 man on the bench. That would be Jake Marisnick. Two and one.
Get on the base.
And Tyler White got off that great start. The home runs, and 3 home runs in his first couple of games. Cooled off a little bit, as you would expect. 2-2 now. Tyler White was the American League Player of the Week for the first week of the season. First time a rookie position player had been accorded that honor. Diekman's 2-2 pitch. Full count. If White is able to get aboard against Jake Diekman, go back to the top of the order, and Jose Altuve. Just as soon not see him come up as a tying run in this inning. Payoff pitch. Popped up. Moreland across the line into foul territory. And that will do it. Jake Diekman has a couple of strikeouts in a 1-2-3 8th inning. We're going to the 9th at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Rangers 2, Astros nothing. Now we go to the top of the 9th inning. Rangers would love to add a little insurance. Facing a very tough tonight, Michael Feliz, who has been perfect through the first 2 innings. 4 strikeouts, and the 6th man in the has retired. Here's Rougned Odor to start things off. And ball one is a little bit low. Odor 1 for 3 tonight. Had a single back in the second inning. Since then, has a flight out to deep left center field and struck out. 1-1. Tyler White has stayed in the ballgame. He pinch hit last half inning. He's playing at first, and Marwin Gonzalez also stays in the game. He's out in left field. 1-2 to Rugnet. .276 average for the Rangers second baseman. And in case you were wondering, there's still no definitive answer as to when Rugnet's appeal will be heard. So until then, he'll keep on playing for the Rangers. He's gone on strikes, though, to start the ninth inning. One out, Mitch Moreland coming up.
Yeah, Felice has not only been throwing a 98-mile-an-hour fastball, he's got a pretty hard breaking ball, too, that's been effective for him. Pretty impressive outing. 7 up, 7 down. He's struck out 5. Prince put the ball in play, and Elvis put the ball in play.
Off speed, low and inside to Mitch. Moreland 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. Sam Dyson, the new closer for the Rangers, loosening for the first time in his new capacity. Just inside to Mitch. 2 balls, no strikes. This might be interesting if Mitch gets a good Felice fastball and connects solidly.
I'd like to see if he hits the same one he hit off Michael Pineda in Seattle, where it would go in this part.
He tried.
He got the pitch, too.
Yeah. 2-1. I think that concession stand out there in deepest center field would be in jeopardy.
That's the way to lay off that pitch.
3 balls and a strike. Mitch hitting 6th in the order, trying to get a board here in the 9th inning. Nomar Mazara in the on-deck circle. Rangers have not had a base runner against Michael Felice. 3-1 pitch. Towering fly ball to center. Just got underneath it, waiting forever for it to come down. Colby Rasmus makes the catch. That is out number 2. A quick reminder for you that MLB.TV Premium, the #1 live streaming sports service, delivers everything you've come to expect and a lot more. Watch every out-of-market game live in HD on over 400 supported devices. It includes a free subscription to At Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Just visit MLB.TV for details. Here's Mazara, who is 1 for 3 tonight. Nomar had a single back in the 4th inning. It was cut down. Last opportunity the Rangers had to score in this game. Tried to score from first on a double by Elvis Andrus and was thrown out at the plate. Nice relay from Kemp to Correa to Castro. Since then, Rangers have had just 1 base runner. Felice with a 1-1 pitch. Nothing fancy there. 97 just below the letters. Nomar pounding that down on his front foot. Still 1-2. Sometimes that shin cover doesn't cover quite enough.
Well, they cover so much.
And Nomar's trying to let that thing calm down a little bit. It may be November or so before that calms down. Felice getting the signs, and now another 1-2 offering. Nice play by Hector Ortiz. Great hands. Houston crowd trying to get into a little bit. Implore Michael Phillies to finish off the Rangers. Nomar Mazar trying to keep this 9th inning alive for Texas. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Looking forward to the bottom of the 9th inning. Astros will have the top of the order. Altuve, Springer, and Correa, who presumably face Sam Dyson, unless the Rangers were able to put up 3 or 4 runs with 2 outs here in the top. Excuse me, the top of the 9th. Call, strike 3. Mazara caught looking. So 6 strikeouts in the 3 innings that Michael Phillies worked. Rangers gone 9 up, 9 down. Bottom of the 9th is Sam Dyson time at Minute Maid. Rangers on top by 2. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By AT&T high-speed internet. Get a deal worth talking about. Get high-speed internet from AT&T. And by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today during the Great American Sale event and see why Ford is the best in Texas. Sam Dyson, newly anointed the closer for the Texas Rangers. Jeff Bannister said time to make a change, and Dyson the logical choice down at the back end of that bullpen. His 21st game of the year. He picked up his 2nd save before the change was made. That was on Sunday against Toronto. Sam did not appear in that Oakland series at all, just like Jake Diekman, and one of the guys that thoroughly rested down there.
The impressive thing about the save against Toronto is it happened right after the scrum that they had, and in that scrum he threw a open field tackle on Russell Martin, and so he was right in the middle of it, rolling around on the ground and fighting, and a little while later he's calmly in the game, saving the game, and that was pretty impressive to see him be able to do that.
You're just getting loose.
That's one way of doing it.
Altuve 0 for 3 tonight. Colby Lewis handcuffed the Astros on 4 hits through 7 innings. Jake Diekman worked a perfect 8th. And now Sam Dyson trying to close it out, misses low and outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Dyson facing Jose Altuve, whose 11-game hitting streak is on the line. Longest hitting streak this year by an Astro, and that's ball 3 down and away. Well, Altuve leading off the 9th inning. He'll be followed by George Springer. 3-0 pitch. Dyson's next offering. Grounded fair down the first baseline. That's going to be extra bases for Altuve. Mazara gets it back in quickly, but Altuve with great speed is aboard with a leadoff double. A 12-game hitting streak.
No, nothing wrong with the pitch. Mid-90s sinker. Altuve just got the bat on it and hit a ground ball where no one could do anything about it.
So Altuve at second. George Springer now at the plate. And Springer represents the tying run in this ball game. Springer tonight an infield single and 3 trips. Chopped it right in front of the plate. Dyson's play is to first. Altuve stays at second. There's one away. And that's a very big important out. Get Springer off base, you keep the tying run from getting on base. Now Carlos Correa coming up.
He obviously goes to that power sinker, kept it down, and when it's down slightly below the knees like that, there's not much you can do with it as far as getting it in the air goes. Best thing you can do with a 0-0 count is probably take it.
Carlos Correa has a hit in 3 trips. Well, a hit and a half. You count that line drive he hit off Colby Lewis's head. Give him a half a hit on that. Well, that ball was smoked. I still can't believe Colby finished that inning.
Yeah,
like nothing had ever happened.
I hope he's fine. I'm assuming he is, but I don't know how.
0-1 the count as Correa waits. Beltre, a quick release, and he got Correa by a step and a half. 2 gone. And there will be no worms left out in front of home plate at the end of this inning.
Oh, now Altuve got a double on his ball, but wasn't hit a whole lot harder than the one Correa just did. He just found a little space down the first baseline. Correa can run. Adrian had to use some arm strength. Just did get him at first by about a half a step.
2 outs. Colby Rasmus 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts tonight. Rangers in an overshift. They have 3 infielders on the right side. Altuve at second, and he's going to score on a base hit to left center field. Rua gets the ball back in. Rasmus with the RBI single. It's now a 2-1 Ranger lead. And Dyson will face Evan Gattis, who represents the winning run.
Now Rasmus is just glad Colby Lewis is out of the game. He struck out 3 times against Colby. And that time he got a high sinker that when it's that high, it can't sink very much. It's tailing away a little bit. But Rasmus does a pretty good job of going with it. Hit it on the good part of the bat. Picked up a run, but still 1 more to go.
So the tying run at first with 2 outs. Evan Gattis singled his last time up. He is 1 for 3 this evening. 1 for 6 in his career against Sam Dyson. Strike 97 on the outside corner. And a pretty easy looking 97. Sam Dyson, I think that was a remarkable thing about him last year that we both talked about, Tom, was how easy it looked to get the ball to home plate that quick.
Yeah. Keep it down and away.
1 ball and 1 strike.
You're gonna miss right there.
The 1-1. Chopped it right off the plate and fouled. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Gaddis just barely got the top of that baseball. The run that Dyson has given up in this inning, the first run he has given up in the last 3 weeks of play. Last time he scored on was the 6th of May against the Tigers. Gave up a run. Chance here, though, to get his 3rd save of the year. He can get Gaddis a 2-1 Ranger lead. Colby Rasmus over there at first after the RBI single. We'll try it one more time.
Got a piece. Took something off that time. 88 miles an hour. That's his changeup. Gaddis was fooled out in front of it, but got a piece of it to hang in there.
Gaddis last night hit a Chris Sale changeup for a home run late in that ball game in Chicago. That was the only run the Astros got last night. Sam Dyson trying to close it out right here. A ball and 2 strikes. Against the Rangers, Evan Gaddis, a .275 hitter. A home run, 8 driven in. Facing Sam Dyson. Nemesis of his from National League days and the last half of last year. Another 1-2. Now back to the screen. 99 from Sam Dyson. Elevated that one a little bit and had a little extra on it.
He'd thrown him a couple of changeups before that. He put everything he had into that fastball. Gaddis was able to just hang in there and get a little piece of it.
Bobby Wilson flashing the signs out now to Sam Dyson. He wants that fastball down and away. Instead got it in, but it enabled Gaddis to foul it off. I think after that last pitch, that's about as much emotion as you're going to see Sam Dyson show you, which was none. Slider, fastball. To the plate. Got him swinging. And that is a winner. Sam Dyson with a save. The Astros get a run, but they come up 1 short. A run on 2 hits, and Dyson strikes out Gaddis. And the Rangers snap their 3-game losing streak as they prevail over the Astros for the 4th straight time this year. And Sam Dyson gets his 3rd save overall, his 1st save since being installed as the Ranger closer. And the Rangers rode great pitching to this win over the Astros, and Dyson finished it off. Gaddis out in front of that changeup.
He gave Gaddis everything he had, and Gaddis battled really well in that at bat, but when it was all over and done with, he couldn't make contact with the last pitch, and the Rangers eke out a win that they needed badly.
Sam Dyson gets the save. Colby Lewis gets the win. Colby moves to 3-0 and finally gets a W in going 7 innings. He had not had a win since he started this streak of 7 innings. Now a 5th straight game of 7 innings completed for Colby Lewis, and he gets the W tonight. Rangers get a much-needed win. They are now a 23-win team. They move up to 23-19, and they move a half game closer to the Seattle Mariners. And we'll have to wait and see how the Mariners did tonight before we know if the Rangers are a half game behind or 1.5 game behind as they go into Saturday's play. But tonight, it was the Rangers that prevailed 2-1. And let's go down to the field. John Radigan is standing by.
Yeah, the guy that drove in both of those runs, Prince Fielder, standing with me and taking some congratulations. Yeah, lots Lots to like about this game, Prince.
Yeah, it was a tough game. I mean, they made it tough on us, but we were able to come, with that extra run and get the win.
Yeah, obviously you watch a guy like Colby Lewis out there, and you must just marvel at this man.
Colby's awesome. I mean, he's going right after guys, no matter what. I mean, it's like he's a robot. He has a plan and he sticks to it. So, I mean, that's that's what you call consistency, I guess.
Took one off the melon and finished the inning.
Did do that, yeah. He's a tough guy.
I don't think they can have a movie about him because John Wayne's no longer alive to play the part. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
What about you? You look like you're feeling good at the plate right now.
Yeah. Every day, trying to go out there to help my team. I think when you really, narrow it down to that's what it's really about. Every day is a new day, and I think the only time you create anxiety or whatever is when you look at the scoreboard and it's not what you exactly want right now. But the only way to change it is to have good at bats and to keep going.
Yep, and get 2-1 wins like
you
this.
Like that?
Appreciate you, Prince.
Right,
good stuff. That's Prince Fielder, guys. Let's get it back up to you.
All right, John. Good stuff from Prince, and good stuff from the Rangers tonight. A 2-1 victory as they open up this 3-game series against the Astros. We'll be back to Minute Maid Park with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest.